he arrive after Jackie?
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Victor, sorry I was a bit mean to you when you were doing your explanation.
It says it can't be. Yeah, it can't be relied on.
No, fine. It'll get better. It just comes suddenly. If you want to, yeah. After we've, yeah. If you want to, yeah. Right. Thank you. Welcome back, members and members of the public that might be watching. Councillor Hodgson, we know that she's just arrived. I think she's in the building. So I'll wait for her to. I'll just give her a few. I don't know, Councillor Kemp, if you could just pop your head out the door because you may have got lost. Yeah, I know. I've seen her. It is, yeah. No, I've just seen her. Yeah. You may have gone to the council chamber. Who knows? We're probably like Kate now as well. I know. I know. We're still poorer. Yeah. Oh, that's you. Oh, well done. Hi, Jackie. Yeah, just over there. Excellent. Right, members. We're all here now. Good to see you, Jackie. So we'll move on to item agenda 6C. Miss Boubier can't be here, so Miss Haslander, over to you, please. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, Councillor Pringle, you wanted to just.
I just wanted to initially speak on this one. Firstly, because given the area it is, I would like it to be spread to slightly purely because of the flooding. I understand that you can't see flooding when it's a sunny day, but you would be able to see the area and read the report. I don't feel the report goes far enough into the problems down there with regards to the flooding. Councillor May's lesson, he spent a lot of time trying to sort the flooding out down there, and I believe that doing some building work down there would disrupt that.
Fair enough. So you would like to propose a site visit?
Yes, I would like to prepare it for a site visit.
Okay. Have we got a seconder for that? Councillor Abbott has seconded that. So we'll vote on the site visit first. If that is passed, what we will do is we'll then go ask the speakers who are here. I think it's Miss Baker. We'll go and ask her if she wants to speak now. If she does, we'll have the presentation. She'll speak, and then it will be deferred until we have a site visit. But if we vote not to have a site visit, then we'll just carry on as is. So, could I have a show of hands, those in favour of a site visit, please?
Isn't it raining? We need it raining.
No. Okay. So, and those against the site visit? Any abstentions? Councillor Panels abstaining. All right. So it's site visit. It is. Mr. Wyman's just going to go and ask the speaker now.
There's two speakers. There's Mr.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Sorry, my mistake. Yeah.
Chairman, can I ask for a point of clarity from you and monitoring officer with regard, because obviously I'm a substitute for Councillor Brown,
Yeah.
Presumably, if I sit here and listen to the presentation, then I need to continue through.
Well, absolutely. On this specific application, you can do it, but Councillor Brown wouldn't. So what I would say is that if you don't want to do the whole meeting, then by all means turn up for that one application, substitute that. I think you can, because it'll be it's just an extension from this one. I think that's. Yeah. Yeah. And what so you would then have to choose if you wanted to do the whole committee meeting or just.
No, well, I mean, my take on it was that if I stay here and listen to the speakers, then, then effectively I'm sort of locked into it, because Councillor Brown won't have heard the speech.
But what Miss Young's. But what Miss Young's saying is that if that is the case, then at the next meeting you'd have to substitute for the whole meeting, not just this one application.
I see. Okay, well, I'm sure that would be.
Yeah.
Chairman, the question is, if the speakers speak today, they won't be able to speak next time?
No, and also we've had the presentation and everything, so much, half of the application would have been done by then already, so it's literally,
I understand what you say, Chairman.
yeah.
I think
It's a decision you'll have to take. Yeah.
I think Councillor Smurden has found a little hole in our.
Well, because I thought you'd be able to just do the one application.
Logically.
Just check. We're just going to check that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
So Miss Young's going to check that, because it may be that you can just do the one application, and what we'll try and do is put that on first or last or whatever, so that you can. I don't want to.
I'm happy.
Yeah. Okay.
I know it's my fault, but
No, that's all right. I mean, what I will say to members is that unfortunately we didn't have a mediation meeting for this application, and if we had done, I'm sure Councillor Austin would have made the case as to why he wanted to have a site visit. The general view from when we looked at it was that flooding issues weren't really something that you could see at a site visit. But people feel differently, and you've obviously decided differently, so that's fine. That's how the committee works. Yeah. Councillor Kemp, can you go? Presumably, James, we could do the speakers could do it. It was that too complicated? But anyway, it won't be. This was just the last one, anyway.
Yeah, he's double checking that he thinks it's as I'm saying.
Hmm?
He's double checking that he thinks it's as I'm saying, and that it's substitute.
Very annoying.
concerned about getting back that way.
You know,
I think they may well be coming.
A difficult discussion going on out there.
Yeah, because normally we go, do you want to speak now or after? And they go, no. And that's it. Well, even so, I mean, it's not.
Yeah.
What are you, what for planting?
No, hey, but you cut it after a lot of rain, like after grapes, but you think it's dry, never leave it for a few days. Then it comes up, the sun grows.
Sorry. Oh, okay. Patrick was saying that we need, if they're going to speak, we need to have it.
Right, in fact, no. If you're having a speaker presentation, it's normally as well.
No, they weren't. No, they weren't. You have the presentation, then you have the speakers.
It's when you knock them down. Yeah.
After rain like that, you usually 4 or 5
You've got
days.
to protocols,
That's
like
when
their
we're all-
substitutes, the point of information.
If you like down there, you come down there. But it looked good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just got your message in there. It's on the substitutes bit. I think so, yeah.
Hallelujah.
Oh, Roadrunner. Get it off. The new constitution.
Yeah, we have to be chairs. But it won't be up in the room because it hasn't been debated and agreed. So it hasn't been adopted yet.
What? Well, it could do, yeah, don't mind, yeah. Yeah, yeah, all right. Yeah. Bring to the, boat track.
Right.
Michael.
Right. So we're going to have the officer presentation and then the objectives are going to speak. Ask questions of both of those and then it will be deferred for a site visit next month. And then come back to committee.
And the applicants have chosen to speak until.
Yeah, the applicants will speak next month. So, yeah, Councillor Smurden, the position is that if you do want to be involved in this application next month, you'll have to be for the whole meeting. So it's up to you. You can decide that you don't want to, and then it'll only be 11 of us because Councillor Brown obviously won't be able to. Yeah, or if you do, it'll be you and Councillor Brown will have another day off. Or 2 days off.
I'll trust that it won't be a one-day session.
I wouldn't do that. Anyway, that's very good of you and much appreciated.
Don't say that to the chairman, it's always a day.
Right, so Ms. Houselander, over to you for the presentation, please.
So this application is for the erection of a single dwelling on land of Clayman's pathway in Ironbridge. You can see the site in front of you. This is Clayman's pathway. It's a cul-de-sac, and it's an area of space at the top of the cul-de-sac which has no development on it currently. This is the site. So the site is in here. Space there. So dwellings on either side. These are some images just showing the sort of site. This is an existing bungalow to the right of the site. And this is the turning head. The proposal would involve access of the existing turning head. Another view of the site. This is the site, as you can see, it's on raised land, and this is the dwelling on the other side of the site, and it's two-storey. Now this is looking down Clayman's pathway, the two-storey dwelling, the single-storey dwelling, and the site just in the middle. The proposal is for a two-storey dwelling on the site in an L shape, as shown in red on the current drawing. And this image shows the flood zone 1 and 2, and flood zone part of the site is in flood zone 2 and 3. The proposal has changed slightly since it was originally submitted, in that the ridge height has been reduced by 750 millimetres because of concerns that the development wouldn't align properly with the two adjoining properties. This is the internal layout. It's got a master bedroom and 2 further bedrooms. And this is a section through showing the existing dwelling, two-storey dwelling, the proposed dwelling in the middle, and the existing bungalow to the right. And that's another one showing images, which aren't very clear actually, but just show images of the various viewpoints of the proposed development. This is the same. The red circle identifies where the proposed dwelling would be, and so the road at the rear of the site, the proposal would be visible from that road at the rear of the site. There's a section through the development, or 2 sections through the development, showing that it will be constructed on the raised ground, and I'll come to that in a second with regard to the flooding issue. This is the proposed site drainage, which indicates surface water running down the back of the dwelling and onto the driveway and then onto the road. And then this is, so there was an application which was submitted in 2016 for a single dwelling, but it was in outline, so no details were submitted at that stage. It was refused because of the potential for flooding and the impact that would have on other properties in the cul-de-sac. Since that time, Devon County Council have put in place a flood alleviation scheme which would help the development of this site, but it is not a flood defence scheme, and that's one of the issues that the objectors have raised in terms of the development of this site. Would there still be a risk of flooding as a result? So this is the flood alleviation scheme, and the blue land is the Devon County Council have access rights over it to maintain that system. There's also a wall proposed here, which would potentially act as a flood wall if the development was approved. So that's the end of the presentation. In terms of the principle of the development, clearly it's within Ivybridge and in accordance with STPT 1 and 2 and TTV 1 and TTV 2, it meets requirements in terms of it being in a sustainable settlement. In terms of neighbour amenity, the neighbours that are concerned, and one of their issues is with regard to flooding and potential for overlooking. However, the officers are of the view that the overlooking issue and sunlight and daylight are not of concern. The ridge height has dropped in order to be in alignment with the other two properties, but the application dwelling will have to sit on the higher land because of the flooding issue, which would have made it higher, and hence it's now dropped down in height. Some minor changes occurred in the planning application processing. There was cladding, which has now been removed, and balconies, which have also been removed. And as I said, the ridge height reduced. The proposal complies with Policy Dev 32 in that there are sufficient measures to accord with that policy. And in terms of highways, the Highway Authority didn't make any comments but asked for standing advice to be considered. The officers are of the view that there's 2 parking spaces off site, which is sufficient and in accordance with the supplementary planning document and also with Policy Dev 29 in the JLP. In terms of flood risk, there's been, it would appear that there's been quite a lot of discussion and negotiation over a lengthy period with the Environment Agency to try to secure a scheme which would not impact in terms of flood risk. The Environment Agency have now withdrawn any objection and have just basically said they have a neutral stance on the proposal, and Devon County Council obviously are making the point that the flood scheme is an alleviation scheme, not a defence scheme, but again have not maintained any objection to the development. There's also an issue with regard to open space. When this development, in association with the larger housing estate development, was put in place, this area was left as potential for open space. However, at the time, there was no Section 106 agreement, neither was there any funding put in place to secure that play area. And in the last 25 years, no play area has been erected on the site. So officers reviewed the current situation with regard to play spaces and sport and recreation. And in Ivybridge, there is a need for football pitch type play spaces, but not necessarily for such small spaces as it's very small. And in terms of our open space and recreation officer, it would be too small to accommodate any play equipment in accordance with the supplementary planning document. It's confirmed that there's no conflict with the neighbourhood plan in relation to this development being approved, and therefore the application is recommended for approval. Thank you.
Right, members, thank you very much, Ms. Houslander. Any questions? Councillor Smurden.
It says 478 square metres is the land of Mount, which is created as a result of previous sport. How does that be addressed to all the sound and conflict over, or when you investigation work in state places, what actually underneath?
I'm not aware that there's been any sort of contamination study or anything like that. No. Yes, could be a consideration, but it's not.
Would that be a condition for contaminated land?
It's a condition, yeah.
With respect, can I suggest that amongst the
question put to the applicants when they speak next time, because they may well have done investigations.
Okay.
And then if it needs to have a condition that follows that, then yes, we can. I think we're possibly a little bit premature discussing at this moment in time.
Right, any more questions? No, in which case if we get the speaker, I don't have, Mr. Whitley. Whitley.
Yeah.
Hello, Mr. Whitley, I'm here. Sorry, new screens to see through. Sorry about all this paraphernalia. Right, so you've got 3 minutes to make your presentation, and then members of the committee may want to ask you questions for clarification. If that's okay. Okay. Right. Over to you.
Okay. I've lived at Skipton since 1995. I'm an engineer. I have been involved with water issues in my engineering career. Just a bit of background, flooding probably started around the turn of the century when the landowner diverted water course across the ridge line, so changing the catchment area. As a result, more water came this way. Drains there were capable of handling that water, and with the handling that water, the problem is they also brought down a load of debris, and it was this that caused the problem with debris blocking the drains and then causing overflow. I've cleared those drains many times, including getting up to my waist in water to do so, and when they were cleared, the flow levels went down. The alleviation scheme, if we go down to the south of Lane, the alleviation scheme has changed 50 mil diameter pipe to a 900 mil pipe, therefore giving 4 times the volume to be taken away. We've had one flood event since there, and it cleared the water very rapidly. It just meant that across Stib Lane you had about 6 inches of water because the level of the drain pipe is about...
Chair, I'm very sorry.
Can you not hear me?
We can't, when I've been next door to the street, we can't hear what the gentleman is saying. So
What's that?
I think we need to sort out a microphone, and then, I'm sorry, so if you could start again, because it's let's say that you just can't hear what's being said.
Okay.
Sorry, Chair.
That's all right. No, if someone, if one of the mics here, we could just...
There's one here.
Yeah.
Sorry. May I just take the water? Oh, sorry.
What about bringing Leslie? What about bringing him into the spare desk where there's a microphone there? Would that work? No.
No.
Okay. I mean, we can open the door so then she can.
No, just see that might work.
Let me go and check the sound. Steve, would you mind just talking for the microphone?
Yeah, okay.
Testing. 1, 2, 1, 2. It's picking up now.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't talk at the next meeting because I was in the Isle of Man for them. So.
Yeah, that microphone is down.
Okay.
Let's sort this one out now.
Right. Is that working, you know?
Shouldn't speak. Are you able to hear me around the room? Yeah.
Councillor, but the thing is...
Yeah, I know, I accept that. I just wanted to make sure that you could as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to go. I do apologise.
No problem.
Are we ready?
You're good to go. Okay, I'll just go through the background again. The flooding started around about the turn of the century, I'm not sure exactly which year, when a landowner diverted the watercourse across a ridge into this catchment area from another catchment area. Whilst it increased the flow of water, the drains were capable of handling this, but it also brought down a whole load of debris, and these rapidly blocked the drains. I've spent I've cleared them several times, and every time I cleared them, the flood levels started to drop. Going to the south of Stibb Lane, so the area where the property is, there was a 450mm drain there, and this has now been replaced by the flood alleviation scheme with a 900mm drain with a big, I think it's well over a metre inlet. So this will allow 4 times the volume of water to flow out there. So while still there will be flooding across Stibb Lane, it will only be to about 6 to 8 inches deep. I'm really here to, the problem that's been raised is the issue of overtopping the wall. The wall's about another half a metre to a metre high, probably about 800 metres higher, which is would require a fairly significant flood event to do this. And I think if that was happening, it would be right across either. I'm here really representing the people on either side, the 1921 claimant pathway, who I've spoken to. I know it's going back a bit, but the dwellings up the back of Stibb Lane are all bungalows. This dwelling is a 2-storey house, and it's on a 1 metre high mound, so it is severely dominates that area. And as you can see, the bottom of the windows are level with the top of the windows of the 19 Claimant Pathway, and they look down into it, and basically looks down into both gardens. What I'm saying is that the house could be lowered readily by about 800 metres, would still give it about 20 centimetres above the road level, and would make no difference. The flooding of that house, should there be overtopping, it wouldn't matter whether it was 800 metres higher or 800 mil lower, going into the so I'd accept that there should be a development there, but the house is lowered. Ideally, it should be a bungalow, but I have a feeling that that's probably beyond my remit. But it should be lowered by this 800mm and not sitting on this house, dominating this area.
Fine.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Members, any questions for the speaker? No, I can't see any. Right, in which case, this application is going to be deferred until next month after we've had a site visit on the Monday before the Wednesday. afraid you won't be able to speak
No.
to that one, sir. 'Cause you-
Well, I'm not here anyway,
No,
so.
okay. But the applicants or the supporter will be able to speak at that. In which case, no more queries on that. Thank you, sir. And we
Thank
can
you.
move on to agenda item 7. Appeals.
I'll take the rest of it.
Clear. Okay, you're going to find it.
Should have sat there. Well, do you want me to do now or he's next door, Pat's next door. He said he'll be a second, Chair.
Right, okay, we'll wait for Pat. Just to come. Here it is, right.
Just, it's a bit of an experience watching it next door. Can I say, if anybody has got a mobile phone here and it isn't turned off, can you please turn it off? I'm not saying the whole problem, but there appears to be quite a bit of interference that's probably coming from a mobile phone. So if it is, if you've got any that are turned on, for quite a lot of time you sit next door, you can't hear what's being said because you've got this knocking.
So does it still affect it if you have it just with the sound off or mute?
Yes.
Switch it off. So you want to switch it off properly?
Yes, because you still.
Press enter.
In and out, I think it's that data or the signal that's affecting the microphone. So
Sound out.
and so I think perhaps the lesson, Chair, is that at the start of a meeting when speakers come in, we just remind everyone to turn
Okay.
phones on.
Yeah, well, hopefully this will be the last meeting we have like this. Right. Okay, Pat, moving on to appeals.
Okay. I haven't got the list in front of me, so I've got some notes. So if I miss one out, please please shout. So there's a few things loud. First here is seeking to open roads of comments. The application was for a conversion of an existing garage to an additional bedroom and the construction of a new double garage with accommodation above in the roof pitch or in the roof space. Apologies, I just went off the top of the appeal.
Which addresses Tom actually, it's the darkness in the wall.
We didn't, as officers, we didn't have any issue with the conversion of the existing garage, but we did have issues with the new double garage, both in terms of its height and bulk, and the relationship wasn't really considering it to serve into the main house and that would cause harm, and also that we felt the design was tantamount to a new dwelling, which was a secondary reason for, was a further reason for refusal. The inspector clearly considered that it was acceptable in terms of character, felt that the scale was in keeping with the surrounding development, and therefore it was acceptable. But it was quite critical of the decision in terms of the reference to being tantamount to a new dwelling, and that it didn't contain facilities for day-to-day living, that we should have determined it simply on the basis of what was in front of us, which was a garage study and not on speculation of future use. And if we did have concerns over its future use, then we should have considered, yes, we could have done that as a condition. And as such, we've had costs awarded against us, but only insofar as the tantamount to a new dwelling element. They considered that whilst he disagreed with our view of character and appearance point, considered that we did put forward a reasonable, justifiable argument, so that it was comfortable with that, but was not comfortable with the second element. So that's clearly a discussion we need to have in-house to take some learning points from that. The second one is White Gates, Kingswear. The history of this is that there was an application for a replacement dwelling that officers negotiated the scheme we got accepted and that was approved. Pretty much as soon as it got approved, the further application came in for the design as it was before we negotiated the what we consider the improvements, which was significant, in my view, significant changes to fenestration with increased height windows and additional windows. That application was refused, obviously went for appeal. The inspector considered the extent of glazing was not out of character and that the design was acceptable. And therefore the appeal was successful. The TPO decision, where the inspector said it was fundamentally that the tree predates the tree preservation order and therefore wasn't covered by it. And therefore there wasn't an appeal in front of him to determine because it wasn't covered by the TPO.
Sorry, on that, tree,
The tree.
all trees predate TPOs.
Well,
TPO, there isn't a tree there.
Well, I'm sure what the inspector said is that
I think what he said, when I read it, was that he thought that it was, the TPO had it in the wrong garden. They protected the tree in 10, or 11 or something like that. Anyway, as soon as they got that decision, they chopped it down straight away. So we didn't even have time to put a new one out.
So I will reread that one and confirm it next time.
Yeah.
I thought I read it this morning, just said something about the tree predated the TPO for like 10 years or something. The final one is 3 Barton Court Close. This is downtown. This is quite in many ways, from an academic perspective, quite interesting. As the case was made by the appellants that the site should have been considered as a garden area because of the 2002 permission for a detached annex, including changes to white land, although the red line didn't include that white land, so our view is that that wasn't correct. The inspector effectively said, that point isn't in front of you because this isn't, that would be a matter for a certificate of lawful use. So I'm going to take, because of the use of the spirit, I'm going to take it that this is agricultural land and determine the application accordingly. And the inspector considered that the proposal had an adverse impact on the neighbours, but was happy with the character and appearance of the building in the area. My reading of that is if the inspector was unhappy and didn't concluded there was an adverse impact on the neighbours, I think it's a bit of a red herring whether it's considered to be garden area or not, because it was the specific impact on the neighbouring properties that were the problem. That's the appeal shown.
Members, any questions? No.
I don't know whether you've got anything on that.
Yeah, it's the location of the tree that was outside the order, but I think the order was in place at the time of development with an idea of protecting future trees, but it falls outside of the location of that development.
Right,
That's why it's not protected. So it does say the order takes effect from the time when these trees are planted. But I think it's because of the development, so it's just not in the right location.
Apologies, Chairman.
No, that's why I mean, basically it's just a technical error on someone's part, and unfortunately the appellant, as soon as they got the judge and shot the tree down for 15 hours, before we confirm on the TPO. Right. So we move on to agenda item 8. Update on non-term and major applications. So hopefully, I think as we said before, members, it's really for noting this. And if there are any that are in your ward, it's probably best if you discuss those with Pat or whoever outside the meeting. So we just note that. In which case, that's the end of the agenda. Thank you very much, everyone. And see you all soon. Just before we go, I don't know if we stop the stream.
I've been interested in this. Two questions. And I just wondered, in the way that things went with the local board member, whether briefings at induction might be more extensive, so that those who are new members coming in will have a responsibility under it's interesting that this site visit had to be voted